Welcome back to the channel. Today we're installing a custom intake on our Lotus Elise. The good news about this custom intake is it's very cheap to do. So this is the original air box that I got, an extra one on eBay, to cut open. Basically you just cut this section out, which takes out this portion of the pipe. This is your mass airflow sensor pipe that you're going to be reusing. The reason you want to use this is because this one won't give you any check engine light since it's the same diameter. Normally the aftermarket intakes that you see out there are wide diameter, so you'll usually get a check engine light, but this one is stock, so you shouldn't have any issues. So as we cut this section out, we can reuse the end of this pipe to connect to an air filter. So I got this cheap air filter on Amazon, and the good news about this one is it's not oiled, so you don't have to worry about oil getting onto your mass airflow sensor, kind of like the K&N air filter. I also bought some extra silicone tubing to extend this out a little further so that it's not sucking hot air from the engine bay. So that we're going to put this closer to the inlet side of the driver. This is the engine, and you can see the throttle body right there. So much more room to work on the car when you have that whole entire section empty. The previous vacuum line here, we're just going to be capping it off so that we don't have to reuse these anymore. These go to the stock intake. So let's go ahead and start fitting the piping. Okay, so it's about an hour and a half later. Got everything fitted in. Very easy install. Just kind of fiddling with the placement to make sure nothing's rubbing. So it's connected right there. There's the MAF pipe. And then you look down here and you can kind of see the MAF airflow sensor right there. And then I'm gonna probably zip tie the VSV valve, the original flap for the intake, the stock one. I'll probably zip tie it somewhere down here. That way it's out of the way. And then just plug all the vacuum lines that are not used anymore. And you can see when you shake it around, you have a good clearance on the clam. This heat shield here is placed in so that it doesn't suck in too much hot air. I also purposefully lengthened it to get to this point near the inlet, but still far away enough from the engine so that it's not sucking in too much hot air. Not bad for an intake setup that's less than $50. And then if you look right there, you can kind of see it through the inlet grill. So I'm going to go ahead and put the wheel well back on and make sure nothing's rubbing, and then we'll go ahead and give it a test drive, see how it sounds. Alright, so I just went for a little drive, got the car warmed up. The hottest it's gotten is 202 degrees Fahrenheit, and I'm keeping track of the intake air temperature. So at the bottom, intake air temperature, bottom right, 89 degrees, and I've been idling here for about 5 minutes, which is about how long it takes to get through a stoplight. So 90 degree intake temperature is not bad. Ambient temperature outside is about 75 degrees in California. It's not a hot air intake, it's a cold air intake. Alright, windows closed. Okay, so I think the intake sounds amazing. It's very loud. You can hear it more all around you. It's like a surround sound intake induction noise. The IATs, or the intake air temperature, are basically the same. There's no change in there because it is technically a cold air intake. It's drawing air from the cold side of the driver inlet. As far as performance, I think it feels a little quicker. I don't know why. You know, it's just, this is the butt dyno, but I think it feels a little faster. And the throttle response is much more sensitive. I was talking last time about how before, you know, you put a certain amount of throttle and then you just get off and go. But now if you do the same amount of throttle, you're gonna over rev and start burning the clutch. So you have to relearn how to drive because the throttle sensitivity is more sensitive. No issues with heat soak, no power loss. Feels a little bit snappier, sounds better, and it's very cheap and affordable to do. I think it's worth doing if you have an extra airbox laying around, if you wanted to try. Obviously in California, to pass smog, you'll have to go back to the stock airbox, which we still have. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys on the next video. Have a good afternoon.